A goal fest of an evening. Arsenal 4, Norwich 0, Everton 2, Leicester 1. That's a real big talking point tonight. Great evening for Chelsea and Man United without kicking a ball. Newcastle also slapping Bournemouth 4-0 as well. Lots to talk about. It's a bit of a joint Matt reaction tonight as there's so much football going on. We are going to be covering the Chelsea game as well a little bit later. So let's jump into our first couple of callers of the evening. Welcome. And of course, Adam, what's going on, boys? Arsenal, just nice 4-0 victory for you boys tonight.
Yeah, man. It feels good.
Yeah, man. Where the Shaka haters at now?
All right, cool. I mean, can I ask a question? I'm always happy when you win. 2 gifts of goals. I mean, you're not going to be. I know you said the other day, Agal, that Xhaka is as good as Jorginho.
Love that.
I mean, you're not going to get overly gassed over a performance like that against Norwich.
I'll tell you something, Terry. Our midfield, what I've seen over the past 2 games from our midfield, them actually getting into the box and scoring goals.
I think the internet don't want to hear. I think the internet's like, please talking about your midfield. I mean, Adam, I'll come to you on that. I mean, look, great win. Of course, you're going to be happy. But is it like anything with Arsenal? Is it a case of like imploring your fans to remain calm?
Yeah, it is. But of course, there's a couple signs that we can take from this. One, that there's still life in Arsenal. It's not like we're dead and buried. People that saying that we're a mid-table club. I'm looking at the Premier League table now, and we're only 1 point off Sheffield United, couple points off Burnley. That commentators in the last match were saying were like light years ahead of us, which I think is just mad. So it shows that we're not as far away from being a decent team as other people are. But I can't lie, like I'm looking at the team. It looks as though Arteta's found a nice balance for an unbalanced team, which I think is decent. David Luiz, as much as I hate the guy, as in football in terms anyway, he's playing in his preferred position that stops him like showing his defensive frailties. So ultimately, I think there's decent stuff that we can look at this and say, okay, there's a platform here to build off of. So while, yes, Norwich aren't the best team in the Premier League, there's still stuff that we can look at and say, okay, yeah, from here we kick on and move forward.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. And what I've noticed, it did it in the last game, you're playing in a system now where the 2 wide players are dropping into central areas when you're defending. It's 2 games running now. Because it's hard to watch the Arsenal game tonight because as a Man United fan, I was very, very much interested in what was going on between Everton and Leicester, and we'll get onto that in a few moments. But you're packing that midfield area. You certainly need to buy better midfielders, in my opinion. I think that needs to most certainly happen as an example. But it was another really good performance, and I wanted to speak about one of your players in particular tonight because he had another brilliant game, 2 more goals. But the rumor mill keeps circulating that he might be leaving. And I know in the past, Gal, you sort of said cash in on him. But are you fearful that if Aubameyang does leave this summer, that you just won't have a player that can put the ball in the back of the net with enough regularity next season?
Listen, we've done it before. We've lost some of our best players before, and we've still moved on, and we've still kicked on. And maybe we haven't gone to the title yet in a long time. But I'm thinking even we just won 4-0. And Aubameyang, yes, he was a big part of that win. But at the end of the day, if the rumors are true, if Arsenal are willing to sell Lacazette or Aubameyang, they're looking at Memphis Depay. They're looking at the options to get prepared already. And with a cheap deal for Memphis Depay not being in Europa League or Champions League, I'm thinking in Arteta, I trust him, and I'm thinking let these guys build their squad because the old regime is out the door. The new regime have shown that they can spot guys like Cedric Suarez today. He came on, he scored a goal in his debut. What else do you want from a right back to come on? You want him to defend well and maybe even create a goal. And his crosses,
I love your optimism. And listen, what a good goal. But listen, he can score a goal a game. If his defending ain't up to scratch, it's not going to be a good signing. But yeah, I get your point. What I would say is goals. Goals are so important to teams. And in my opinion, for 15 years, Arsenal, when they lose a good player, you have very rarely replaced them. Like for the only one player I'll give you that you can't replace ever, because he's arguably the greatest player in Premier League history, is Thierry Henry, because it's hard to replace the greatest ever, like as an example. But that would be my concern as an Arsenal fan. However, you also need to sit there and give the opportunity to replace him. So I don't totally get your point from there. But Adam, for yourself, 3 wins on the bounce now. Probably the best remedy going into your next game's Wolves away, which is a test. How are you feeling right now ahead of that?
I think it's important for Arsenal fans to take it one game at a time. I get you say it's been a couple wins on the bounce now, but I'm putting all that to the side. For me, it's about one game at a time. Wolves away is a test. I'm guessing Arteta is probably going to use the same formation. So we'll be matching Wolves sort of man for man and the same formation that they use. But I do think I like the partnership that Danny Ceballos and Xhaka have seemed to form. I think Holding's doing well. Can I just say, Kieran Tierney, I think he's doing fantastically well as well. I see him as the captain. I'm not going to lie. Everything this guy does is professional. Shirt is always tucked in. He's always looking the part on the pitch, and I love that. So yeah, I think it's just important to take one game at a time, make sure we don't get ahead of ourselves, as you said. And I think really we just need to dig in against Wolves, because.
Do you remember what I said to you, Adam, in the summer about Kieran Tierney? Do you remember when we were London Bridge filming with that weird guy forward, that Dan fella who talks at a million miles an hour, and Neeks and that, and we were talking about Tierney, and I told you what a lot of Scots that I know have said. They don't care whether it's him or Robertson starting for Scotland. They think they're about as good as each other. Tierney's only issue this season has been being fit and getting a clear run of games. We're seeing improvements. We're joined now by Stavros Flatley. You said that because I don't know where I saw it today. I saw that it come up as a suggestion on my timeline for you doing your dancing in your living room.
Mate, it's fitter than I am at the moment.
What do you make of Arsenal's performance tonight? And it's actually nice to see you smile, Sonny. How well did Arsenal do?
I always smile when I see you lot. You know what? Let's not get carried away. It's only Norwich. It's a game we expected to win. You know, but there was a lot of positives today. You know, Adam's bigging up Tierney. I think Tierney's crossing was not on point today. I thought his crossing was pretty awful, to be honest with you. So you know, that's something he needs to work on. Big positive for me, Cedric Suarez. You know, he actually looked like a decent player. You know, so you know that might be a good bit of business there. Lacazette shouldn't be nowhere near the squad. Totally off the pace. You know, he couldn't score in a brothel. Granit Xhaka scored. Bloody hell, you know.
Real bloods.
You know, but thing is, our next 4 games, well, our next 5 games, including the semi-final, it's going to be the real acid test. I thought Norwich were very, very poor today. Very, very poor. I thought Danny Ceballos run the game for me. He was my man of the match, to be honest with you. Defensively, David Luiz, that quarterback. You know what? If all David Luiz done in the game was hit those 60, 70-yard diagonal balls, and he got out of the way of defending, you know, I'll be happy with David Luiz. You know, they should just bring him on for the quarterback pass. But you know, they combine well. But you know, I'm not getting carried away with that at all. Far from it.
I think you're right. I look at it this way with Arsenal. If you put a 15 unbeaten run together where you're scoring loads, not conceding a great deal, then there's an element of, I think we're turning a corner. I would just say right now, what I'd say about your last 2 Premier League games is there's been a lot of defending and goalkeeper errors that have led to your goals. I would say let's see what happens against Wolves. Let's see what happens in that performance, because you don't want it to drop off. And speaking of dropping off, of course, welcome Lee Chappie to the show. Leicester, I mean, you've done us a favour tonight. We're going to talk a bit about Man United, but we'll talk about top 4 race a little bit now, which of course we're on the outside of. Won a few more games, who knows? But I'm just guessing.
You're an optimist.
Nah, man.
I haven't got to
Let's
worry.
be realistic.
I mean, Leicester, I was looking at the form table earlier on this evening. In the last 8 games, and I looked at that because that's 8 games since Man United lost back-to-back games to Burnley and Liverpool, respectively. We're top of the form chart on 18 points. Leicester is sitting down there on 7 points out of a possible 24 in your last 8 games. What has led to this drop-off, Lee?
No plan B, to be honest with you. Relying too much on the same thing, which is down the channels to Jamie Vardy. That's been found out time and time again, to be fair. I think there's always like a new way to play it and bringing these younger players in like Maddison and Perez, creative players to get the defence to sort of, get them out of position a bit to get Vardy a ball through. But it's just been found out. And to be honest with you, we haven't got any other plans. There's no plan B. We've got no aerial threat. And again, we left it too late today. 2-0 down. Okay, VAR probably wasn't handball. I don't think it was handball. I think it was a bit unfair. But it is what it is. And we go 2-0 down at half time and Rodgers need to slap their asses. And unfortunately, I don't think he probably slapped them enough.
I hear that. And obviously, I'm always going to have a little bone to pick and a bit of an issue with Rodgers because he's an ex-Liverpool manager. So it's always going to be there. Is this a case of him bottling it and not having a plan B? Because I said that about him at Liverpool. I said that Liverpool under him had one way to play. And if that doesn't work, they didn't win. They didn't win and things always fell away. And I feel like the same with Leicester, obviously with not quite as good a squad as he had at his peak at Liverpool. Is it him or is it just he needs another summer of buying the right players?
I think I think it's a transfer market thing. I think we need a few players, but the problem is holding on to the players we've got. I think that's going to be the big question. I mean, like we're missing Ricardo Pereira, who's injured, but I mean we're missing him gigantically. He's one of the best right backs in the Prem, I'd say, give or take. And I think you'd all agree he's very good. I don't think we could hold on to him. To be honest with you, he's destined to go somewhere big. James Maddison's been linked to multiple clubs. Chilwell's probably going to go Chelsea, especially cuddling Ross Barkley on the FA Cup clash, which we're all pissed off about. I don't know. I just don't know. If we don't get Champions League football, we could be all over the place. We could get picked apart like Southampton. You know how Liverpool used to pick Southampton apart.
Stay positive.
I'm positive because
I'll tell you this.
We're third. We're third in the Premier League still. Right until obviously this game finishes tonight. We're still third in the Premier League. So I'm optimistic. We're at Leicester City. We're not a massive club. We're not used to being up there. Winning the Premier League has probably made some of us dream a bit more. But we're allowed to dream, aren't we?
Lee, I don't think you're overachieving. I don't think you're overachieving, Lee. You know what? League table doesn't lie. You're there on merit. You're good football inside. You just go for a blip, and I'm sure you'll work your way out of it.
I think it's more than a blip. When you think about it, there are guys like Harvey Barnes and these young guys. They're not used to playing every 3 days, every 4 days. So I think it's the fact that your squad might not be used to playing every couple of days. Where Manchester United, Liverpool, you got Man City, even Arsenal. We're used to playing so many games that this might actually help us down the run. Where it's hurting teams like Leicester right now.
It's not the biggest depth squad either, Leicester. We've not got the biggest of depths, I don't think. If we did have European football this year, I think we would have been screwed, to be fair.
I think there's definitely an element of that, and it is also pressure as well. And I think that certain clubs handle it in a different way. And I know you were on a bad run of form before the return, but I think they've done these stats in Germany and they haven't run them in the UK, but it feels that way. As a general rule, the bigger clubs are winning the majority of the games. Home advantage is disappearing for teams. So when Man United come to you on the final day of the season, we're not really away from home. It's just two teams playing each other. There's no away fans to cause any sort of problems. There's nobody to put you under. I've got Arsenal against Sheffield United. Would they have had the strength of character to have scored that goal if the Sheffield United fans were up? I don't know. The answer is we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Leicester are a team that do rely on the 12th man. Big time. I think we are one of those sides because we are more of a locally supported side, for one. We're not like a national side, with fans that come all over from different countries to come to games for away games in particular. So I do think we are supported locally more than we are nationally. So, and I think that's a big thing. We are very loyal to our club, and not being there on away games, I think is one that I think that's affecting the club
I think the only thing was to come back and bite Leicester in the arse is what you said, Lee. It's squad depth. But I think 1 to 11, you're as good as anybody. But Man United are a different animal at the moment.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I mean,
so go on, mate. Go on.
Honestly, I was gonna get back to this. I was gonna say, with the runs coming down, everyone playing so fast, so quickly. Say if Arsenal win the next couple games and Leicester get out of this blip and they start winning their games too, I'm looking forward to facing Wolves, Leicester, Liverpool, just to see where our team's at. Even though Sonny, our season, you already said it's finished, right? So if we win these next couple games, it could push us on for next season. And Leicester, same thing. If you guys win the next couple games, it'll push you on to get your Champions League spot, and then you can keep your players for next season. These next couple games is the most important thing for everybody.
Yeah, it's when you look at the league table, though, I use the expression, like it's so tight. I mean, what I love about it, and I'm sorry to throw salt here, but it's amazing that it's Liverpool's first title in 30 years, but the most exciting element of the league is the top 4 race. That's what everyone's like. The whole of lockdown, will they be awarded it or not? The conundrum was, how will Bruno and Pogba play together? Will Leicester get over their blip? What about Arsenal and Arteta's move? Like Chelsea. Yeah. Chelsea have signed players. How are their youngsters going to react? That was a conversation, and it's great that this is going on. Otherwise, if top 4 was already sorted and Liverpool won the league the way they did, these last although we enjoy football being back, there'd be nothing tangible to play for. And it's going to be interesting now. I mean, with Leicester, if they don't get out of this rut within the next 2 games, you could be out of the top 4, and it looks a guarantee. On that, though, I want to ask you boys, 2 Arsenal fans here, and of course, Leicester fan and myself. Right now, hand on heart, we know that Man City and Spurs are probably Liverpool are going to make the top 2. I can't imagine City are too far in front to be dragged into it. Who's finishing 3rd and who's finishing 4th? I'll go to Stanley first of all on that.
For me, I think United have probably got a good shout at 3rd or 4th, probably 3rd. I think Bruno Fernandes, what a revelation he's been, and with Paul Pogba, with him. Martial and Rashford, you've got a very good side there. All of a sudden, one player has made the world of difference to Manchester United. What a player he is as well, But I can see Chelsea getting the other spot. Unfortunately, Lee. I just think Chelsea have got quite a lot of depth to their squad, and the youngsters are pretty good youngsters. They got there, so I think Chelsea get up. And you know what? Apart from the top 4, there's also a big race for the No Man's Cup as well. Europa League, because I'll tell you something. It's not a foregone conclusion to get into that crappy competition next year either.
Man City could still get banned. And you guys are not talking about Wolves. You guys are not talking about Wolves. No. The most on-form player in Traore. Yeah.
Oh, I think
he's probably one of the most on-form player in the league. I would say Traore. He's not scoring a bunch of goals, but he's impacting the game.
In the last 8 games in the Premier League, Man United are top of the form charts, 18 points, 13 goals. Second are Wolves. They are there, which is why we've come to this point. Nice segue. Thank you. I'm glad Arsenal won their last few games, because what I want now from Arsenal is a performance in the next game, because it's just it takes a one less team away from us. Because I think Man United are going to win our next 2 to 3 games at least. And the next 2 to 3 games, we're playing teams in the worst form. There's nothing to help them. And Bournemouth, we will slap Bournemouth at the weekend. They're done. I watched a little bit of the Bournemouth game earlier. It was on my 3rd screen. I've set it up nice. You'll like it when you come in, and they've got about 4 different screens up, and I can watch all the games.
Mate, that's legend.
Because Sky have set all the games are on at the same time. I sit here, it's amazing. I feel like such a geek. I've never been into I actually look one of those weird gaming geeks.
Mate. Terry, don't expect Arsenal to do you any favours.
I know.
You don't need Arsenal to do you any favours anyway. Because
this is why I would say to Arsenal fans, don't give up. Because 5th place is outside achievable right now. You're what? You're only 6 points away from it now. You think, that's a long way away. But you win 2 or 3 games on the bounce, and some teams you draw and lose a few, you could be there. Imagine you give up now, but you miss out on 5th place by 1 point, and then City's ban happens.
Mate,
that would be the same thing. But that's also could help Leicester. Leicester still might make. I think from Man United and Leicester fans' point of view, and Wolves, all of us, praying for a City ban, because it just means then if you do come out and finish 5th, you're still going to win the Champions League.
Mate,
Well,
we're not finishing fifth. We're not finishing fifth. You know what? Sheffield United got a decent team, but basically, even the second half of today, Arsenal weren't great. To be honest with you, we ain't getting fifth. And on my podcast at 9:00, say TV Arsenal, tune in and watch it. I'm going to dissect Arsenal's performance, but Leicester, I think could turn it around. They just need a bit of belief. They need the rubber to green.
Mate, seriously though, you're talking about Leicester, right? This is how I see it. Since the Boxing Day fixture, we got stuffed. We had a Christmas turkey stuffing by Liverpool on Boxing Day, and no one's carved into that turkey. It's still on that table. We're still stuffed to this day. We've took a couple of wins since then, right, in the Premier League. I think Terry said this yesterday on his stream yesterday. We've only took a few wins in the Prem since that Liverpool battering on Boxing Day. I just can't see where the win's going to come from. We've only scored 2 goals since we've come back in the pandemic.
You still got
2 goals.
You still got some.
I just can't see where the goals are coming from. We've got Crystal Palace next at the King Power, where we've already drew with who we drew at the King Power. We've drew with Brighton, and with who else did we draw with? Help me out here. My head's gone. My head's gone tonight, Terry. My head's gone.
What's into the return?
Yeah, it was Chelsea as well. They beat us 1-0 at King Power.
You drew with Brighton, and you drew away to Watford.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, we've got Crystal Palace, we've got Arsenal, who are going to fight to get up that top spot, right? And then you've got Bournemouth, who, okay, that might be a win. That might be a first win, I think, since the return. And then you've got Sheffield United, who were in cracking form towards the start of the season.
Sorry, I know we're changing this up. I've just looked at Arsenal's next lot of fixtures.
No. Let me say it.
Exactly.
Oh wow,
We got Wolves,
Leicester, Tottenham, Liverpool. Then you play City.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, but this is the thing. That's what I'm saying. But you never know. You never know. You win the next 2 games, 3 games, and it's like, Champions League fights. You can do it. You can do it. Have some faith.
Harry.
But it's going to go. It's going to go on to the last 2 games for Leicester. For Leicester, it's going to go to the last 2 games for Leicester. We've got Tottenham Hotspur and Man United back to back as the last 2 games to finish it. It's going to be interesting. The last game is going to be mad for all of us for chasing those 5th, 4th, and 3rd spots. It's going to be absolutely mad.
Listen, I said it here first. Chelsea's dropping out. It's gonna be Man United. It's gonna be Man United, Leicester, and it's gonna be Man United, Leicester, Wolves. I feel like Chelsea. If you look at Chelsea, who they're facing, they might not be facing the biggest, baddest teams, but they got a lot of guys fighting for relegation, and those guys are just as hungry as the guys trying to get up there for top 4. So Chelsea don't have an easy road either.
Yeah, I can't. For me, it's going to be. I've said the other day, actually, I think that Man United and Leicester will go into the final game of the season. And originally, I said Leicester to be 2 points in front of us. I'm now thinking we might end up being 2 points in front of you, but I think it'll be a shootout final game of the season, and that'd be nice as well because it'll feel like a cup final.
Yeah, Terry, Chelsea's next 4 games, right? Chelsea's next 4 games are Watford, Watford at home. Well,
doable. That's doable.
Crystal Palace away, Sheffield United away, and Norwich at home.
Yeah, winning all 4.
Yeah.
And they're playing West Ham right now as well, and they'll win 3-0 tonight, easy.
No, West Ham's gonna win.
Nah, West Ham cannot
get relegated.
West Ham play recently. I've watched two of their games since this thing returned. They honestly, they cannot pass water.
We'll see.
They are shocking. Noble's out of the game tonight as well. He's their best. Imagine your best midfielder is Noble and he ain't playing.
Terry, we love football for a reason. Shocks can happen.
Well, listen, you're not good guessing it right, but I don't think you're talking with your brain here. I think you're doing this is what you wish is going to happen. It's not Chelsea. They've got their new shirt as well. Their new 3 sponsor. Oh yeah, because new sponsors are kicking in from now. I keep forgetting.
It looks ugly.
It's real ugly. It reminds me when Man United first had Chevrolet.
It's got number 3 on. It's got number 3 on it.
Just the big 3G sign.
No, they copied Crystal Palace. Did you see their 3rd kit? It's disgusting. Literally has the Palace red and blue lines.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. But yeah, I think Chelsea will make it. And Chelsea are going to be they're going to be a madness team next year. But what we all have to make sure we're doing here, I know we all keep arguing with each other, but we're all ignoring the main enemy here. I need every team. I want every team in England to improve in the summer because we've all got to come for Liverpool.
Mate, you know what? As long as Tottenham don't get into the top 4, you know what? I don't care if the world ended tomorrow, right? As long as Tottenham don't get to the top 4, I don't care.
Right now, we're ahead of Tottenham.
I think they're going to win it again and do it again. I just have a feeling they're just going to go all out.
No.
Well, Tottenham have got Sheffield United away. Then they've got Everton at home. Then they've got Bournemouth away, and then they got the Arsenal.
They're good. I'm sorry, but they're fucking good. Sorry for swearing, but they're good.
They got a good squad.
They're so muggy and lucky as well. When you think after their players are out, and the pandemic has just worked out lovely for them. You know, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't be surprised if they caused it.
It's just mad. It's just mad. Go on.
Go on, you go. Go on, mate.
I'm going to say Leicester at the minute, they're like the Titanic. They've hit the iceberg, aren't they? They're sinking fast.
Yeah. Man United benefited from the lockdown. Getting Pogba and Rashford and Pogba wouldn't have been fit towards the end of the season. We wouldn't be doing what we're doing now without that happening. So it's funny, really. A lot of United fans have been like talking trash the last few days about. Again, I want to come after Liverpool, of course I do, but a lot of United fans, tainted season, lockdown, and I'm sitting thinking, you do realise that it's more Man United that are going to benefit through lockdown potentially than Liverpool. I mean, it could end up being a spark that gets us top 4 on a trophy or two, which I don't think any of those things would have happened without lockdown happening. We've got Tom here from Gooner Talk TV in the house. What's going on, bro?
All good, mate. Yourself?
Hey, Tom.
I'm good, mate. I'm good. We've been chatting about top 4 race. Leicester just sinking like the Titanic, and Arsenal's
After resurrection,
you're back. What did you make? What did you make of the display tonight? And you've got 4 tough games on the bounce now. Are you ready for it?
that means no, we're not.
Yeah, that muted itself. Strangely.
I can't hear him.
You can't hear me. Okay.
You're back.
I'm back. Okay, you can hear me. Sweet.
Yeah.
I think we prepared ourselves perfectly for those games. We needed to hit ourselves with momentum. We needed to get some wins under our belt, and we've done that. The Wolves game is going to be a real test to see if we've actually got a team now that is going to be a truly sort of a real competitive side. The Sheffield United game showed that there are still issues in the team, for sure. But if we can get a win against Wolves, which would be huge, and that is a big, big ask to be able to do that against a Wolves side that are absolutely smashing it right now, it sets us up to face a Leicester team, which, apologies, aren't in the best of form right now.
Done. I've just done a watch along for fucking nearly 2 hours. I've had enough.
Lee, at least you're there, mate. At least you're in the mix, buff.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, man. I'm really happy Saka signed the contract, and Arsenal won a game, are in winning form. But the biggest thing is we haven't missed Leno. Leno's been injured, and Martinez has stand up on his head, and I'm happy. It's the first time we've had a backup goalkeeper that we could say at this level can do decent.
I was going to ask you boys. I wanted to ask you boys about that. What do you make of the Saka signing? How happy are you with him? Because for me, he's actually he's one of those young talents where you think, he's. Some of the youngsters get hyped, but I look at like Mason Greenwood's, I look at Saka's, and it's like, well, I've seen you make an impact every game you've played. Your touch, your movement, you look like you belong. He's one for the future for me.
At the two contract rebels, which is Saka and Aubameyang, Saka by far is the biggest signing for Arsenal over Aubameyang. It's a big statement of intent by Arsenal that we can keep hold of our young players, because we've got another one who's linked away, Balogun, who's actually is a really good player as well. Mm-hmm. If Saka left Arsenal, the fan base would have been on the floor, to be honest with you. So big up, Bukayo Saka. Our best player this season by a long shot.
Best player?
Yeah, definitely. He's been our best player this season, in my opinion. Just behind him, David Luiz.
It's going to be an interesting one. I was just looking for something. Sorry.
Tom, I seen you tweet that you would bite your hand off for 35 million for Aubameyang. Are you in the same boat as me, sell Aubameyang, if this contract issue is an issue?
Well, I mean, you've got a situation where you've got an exceptionally valuable asset at the club in terms of the goals that he's creating. And we were told by Raul Sanyehi that if a player that is an Arsenal player goes into the final year of their deal, or last 24 months of their deal, that we would move them on. If they didn't want to stay, they'd be moved on, and he needs to deliver on that. If we can get, I mean, I'd take 30 million, let alone 35 million at this point, because it's money that needs to be reinvested. I think there are players around that are available and that would move to Arsenal for that fee. I look at Celtics, Edson, Odegaard. There is a young French striker, really exciting, would be available. We've got decent links with Celtic, obviously doing the deal with Tierney, however much an impact that has, but still, there's players that can come in, and I just think to commit, say, 300,000 grand a week plus for a player that is going to be reaching the twilight of his career quite soon, I think it's probably the most intelligent thing to reinvest his market value elsewhere.
Mate, I'll keep him. I'll keep him, mate. I'll let him leave for nothing following season because you're not going to replace his goals. 35 million ain't going to buy you nothing anyway. And you know what? Apart from Aubameyang, if you stick Nketiah and Lacazette together, they're not strikers. Both of them crap.
Has Aubameyang just joined Vardy in the top goal scorers for the season?
Yes, 19. Yeah.
If Vardy's not scoring, he's not even getting the ball, no service. So that's probably gone as well for him.
I'll take him. I'll take Vardy as a Aubameyang replacement.
You don't want to come back.
Why aren't you guys scoring goals? What's going on at Leicester? Why aren't you guys scoring goals? Because Maddison was on fire. Harvey Barnes was on fire.
I don't know. Can't penetrate the defense. Just can't penetrate defenders at all. Perez gets bullied. He can't seem to play against bigger defenders. He just can't do it. I don't know.
Iheanacho's not Leicester class, is he? He's not. He's not a Leicester player, is he?
Nacho. I don't know what happened with Nacho. He came in from Man City. He looked mustard. Kevin De Bruyne slinging passes on a 50-pence piece to him. He's going to score goals, isn't he? Comes to Leicester, he ain't got Kevin De Bruyne doing that for him. So I don't know. It's just not. I don't think it's worked out. He was lucky to get his goal today because it was a bit of a ping pong sort of thing, in the box. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know where the goals come in. The actual proper goals. Those ones where you go, oh, what a goal! I mean, look, you watched when we completely destroyed Southampton at St Mary's. It was unreal. And you look at us now. We're a complete different team.
Yeah. Appreciate it, boys. Listen, I appreciate you all coming on, having your say. Well done, Arsenal. Commiserations, Leicester.
We're back. Arsenal back.
Yo, Terry, I'll tell you this. Manchester United are probably going to get top 4 just because of their midfield. Probably the best midfield in the league, man.
I know. It is. It just is. It's funny with me, right? I get loads of things wrong. I get loads of opinions wrong. So does everybody. I mean, I got the Ollie situation wrong because I was angry. But most of the time we get things wrong because we're emotional. We're not looking at the facts. But when I look at our midfield now, we can hold, we can create. This isn't like a 3 or 4 game run where we're looking good. We've scored 38 goals in our last 15 games and conceded 4 on all 4 goalkeeping errors. It isn't a fluke. I love and the biggest thing I'm happy about is that this has all been like leader-led from Maguire, and it triggers the living daylights out of people because I don't really care whether people think he's worth 80 million or not. The reason people don't think he's worth 80 million, and I'm going to sound like a right arrogant sod, is because they have absolutely zero comprehension of how the football financial world works. If they did, they would know that he's worth that much money, and in fact, in 4 or 5 years, that money will look cheap because
Terry, you're lucky you're not playing us, or you'd have had 40 goals.
Yeah, because Virgil van Dijk in this market, his market value is 160 odd million pounds. So Van Dijk's better. That's why his value is more. And people always think about players by the price they were paid for
at the time. Yeah,
as opposed to a lot of people go, Kante, what a bargain. Only because there's a buyout clause. When Chelsea bought him, if there's no buyout clause, he would have been a 60, 70 million pound player from Leicester. But there was a 27 million pound buyout clause. So they got him at 1/3 of his market value. You got the Werner deal. People, Werner's going to Werner sets the bar. If Chelsea signed a world-class striker for 50 million, no, there's a buyout clause, you moron. Don't work that way. But I find it fascinating. And by the way, I don't expect people to understand it unless you work in it. But I've had viewers on my channel. They've actually sat there and watched the shows where the experts on telling us. And I give you an example of the experts. One of the guys was one of the forensic analysis dudes and consultants who worked on the investigation into Man City. Like, that's the level that these people understand football and finance to. And they're like, no, I don't believe him. I don't believe him. He knows what he's talking about. It's okay, cool. When UEFA knocks on your door and says, can you come help us investigate Man City? You must know a little bit.
Mate, if they improve your team, then they're worth the money. It's simple as that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd pay Leicester an extra 10 million now for how we're playing, and Maguire being part of it. But Bruno, is just, it's mad, really. Like, I was saying to a few young United fans the other day, let's not get ahead of ourselves yet. But if we keep playing like we are, and he's that impetus, the young generation are going to experience, hopefully, and I want it to happen, their version of Eric Cantona. That's who I saw as a kid come in and just make Man United a different animal. And it wasn't just what he did; it was everybody around him just suddenly became arrogant and better and more confident. And look, Arsenal were the same. I see Arsenal do it in the 90s. Suddenly, you brought in Wenger. He brought in his sort of flair and style on some of his players. And there was a lot of questions about that at first, if I remember rightly, because, and you'll remember more, Sonny, because you were a grown man by then. Well, you were more probably than a grown man. You were, 30s then. But there was a lot of questions about that and some of the signings he made. Who are these people? What's this new sort of like continental style? But no one, like, up until about 2010, no one cared because it worked.
Mate, you're missing the bigger picture, right? Arsenal are linked with a Bruno as well, right? And it's going to change the face of football. But the trouble is, Ralph Snelly's linked to the allergy character of Bruno.
Come on, but that's a bad joke.
You know why? That leads on to a show on its own, right? Ralph Snelly, you know what? No direction, mate. Not one direction, no direction.
There we go. Boys, I appreciate you all coming on. We'll chat to you again soon. Cheers, Tom. Thanks, mate. Lee Chap. Everyone go check out Gooner Talk TV. Everyone go check out Lee Chap. What's your channel called, Lee?
It's Chappy TV on YouTube, but I'm doing the Hot Mic thing as well. But
yes, everyone who follows me on Hot Mic, go follow Lee Chappy on Hot Mic as well. And then you've got, what's your channel called now, Sonny? It's got a new name every 6 weeks.
Well, you know what? Half of my subscribers want to be unfiltered, right? So it's called Sunny TV Arsenal, and we're on at 9 o'clock live. And I'm going to be dissecting the Arsenal performance because it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Oh, okay. But I need to ask, why Sunny TV Arsenal? I keep thinking it doesn't make sense.
Because I support Arsenal, Phil.
I get that. I don't get the title. I don't get the title.
I'm Sunny. It's on TV, and it's Arsenal. So Sunny TV Arsenal.
Fair enough.
All right, cool. Zane here, Gaming Engine. Your team is a pub team and jealous of us. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. I don't know who Gaming Engine is. He must be another comment.
Yeah, they're talking to each other. I've been reading the comments.
My comment, my favorite bit. Sometimes I think they're having a go at me, and then I chat to him. And no, Terry, I wasn't talking to you. I was calling somebody else a prick. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Zane was supposed to be on a date tonight, so it looks like his date has blown him out.
There's a few comments in here that keep mentioning, how did you get Vardy on here, Terry? How did you get Vardy on here? I think obviously relating to me.
Well, it ain't funny, is it? You know what I mean? Jesus Christ.
Fucking hell.
Mate, you know what? Arsenal won 3 games and I've come out in blotches. I've got fucking little heat rashes all over the place just because we won 3 games.
But you are happy, though, Sonny, that you've won these games, right?
To be honest with you, so I couldn't give a toss about this season, mate. Honestly, it's just a season for Arteta to get his slippers in the right place under his desk and get to know his players. But you know what? If you don't finish in the top 4, in Arsenal's opinion, it's a wasted season. So for me, it's a dog shit season for Arsenal. And you know what? It's so bad. I don't even bother watching none of the other games. As far as
you'll be right. You'll be right. You'll be right once you've beat Leicester in a couple of weeks. You'll be fine.
Well, you've got Tottenham in a week, haven't you? Like I actually confused what day of the week. You've got Tottenham very, very soon, which I'm looking forward to. Again, I
couldn't give a monkeys about Tottenham either. You know what? I'm not going to be one of them stupid fans who's going to define our season by beating Tottenham. I couldn't give a toss about Tottenham, right? As far as I'm concerned, it's all about Arsenal and finishing in the top 4 and competing. When I start going about Tottenham, that's when we have admitted defeat. I'm not going to go that low.
Sorry. Pulisic nearly scored, but it went wide.
Is it still 0-0?
Yeah, still 0-0 as it stands right now. So
I'm doing every Leicester watch along until the end of the season, so you might see me crying near the end.
It's mad, but I could. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing of it all. Like, I'm really excited about how United are playing right now. But in 3 or we could be like 2 weeks. We've got Chelsea in the FA Cup. That could be over. And if we do it a bad run of form again, the abuse I will get because I'm so confident we're over this kind of this bad run. I think we've turned the corner is amazing. So I do feel the pressure, but yeah, it's nice to be back. And it's interesting. It feels really, really good to be watching football with warm weather.
Joe, what, Terry? As soon as United playing well, you've got a little spring in your step. You know that. Honestly, I can see you sitting there. You're smug as shit, Terry. It's really annoying.
You know what's interesting? To be fair, like I've had an absolute nightmare of a season. Not how my team's played. I started off the year, and I could smell the fear that people had in Man United, and I could because of the salty comments. You're like, oh, I can smell it. And then we started okay, and then just petered out. And I think I let myself get emotional, and I lost it. I stopped actually watching my team and reviewing and listening, and I just rant. Lockdown was great for me as well because it gave me an opportunity to like reflect. We had a good run leading up to lockdown as well, with like a 10, 12 game period. And I sort of watched a lot of games back and I started focusing on it and I realized, you know what, we actually are moving in the right direction, but I've been such an idiot. I haven't seen it. So I had to come out and eat some humble pie and say, oh, I've made these things, I did all these things wrong. And we're just playing really well. And I made this point when we beat Watford and everyone's like, why are you getting gassed over beating Watford? And I said to them then, what I'll say again now, it was like, in 7 years since Fergie's gone, we don't really batter anyone, very rarely. We struggle all the time at home and away against these lesser teams. And last night was another example. 2 years running, Bournemouth played us off the park and battered us. You know, early on in the season, this West Ham team slapped us up. We couldn't pass the ball. So to suddenly see us doing it more regularly now, where we're beating the easy teams, we're putting in good performances against the top guys, we're getting better. And then you've got the Brunos of this world lighting us up. For me, I couldn't be happy. And then even little things like Mason Greenwood just looking, I mean, no teenager in
I don't know how you even mentioned that, Wally. But Terry, just put
Mason Greenwood.
Yeah, who's Mason Greenwood? God's sake, you know. Terry, just put his perspective, right? Just put his perspective. You're just as far away from competing for a title next season as we are for finishing the top four, right? So you're a million miles behind Liverpool. You're a million miles behind Man City. You know what? You're just the top four. You're just the top four.
But where? This is where perspective is important.
Always look at the form, don't you? Always look at form as well.
Yeah, the form part of it, we are a way away from it. But the only way we're gonna get to their level is by improving. So when I see improvement and I see an upwards trajectory, I'm happy. So my view is this: I keep hearing a lot of United fans say, I'm not going to be happy with what we're doing until we're winning titles again. And my view is, well, you can't go from where we were 6 months ago to winning titles by clicking your fingers. As a general rule, unless there's a huge drop-off from City and Liverpool next year, we need to continue to improve. So I want to just see over the next 18 months continual progression. If you look at our last 15 games, if that becomes in and around the normality for us, we'll close the gap massively on Liverpool next year. And
you've lowered your standards, son. You've lowered your standards. That's what I like. Man United and now Man United
standards are there, right? Standards are there. But I'm here. We've got to work our way up. I can't expect the jump in one go, bruv. I'll give you an example, right? I did a mentor session with some young gentlemen that are working in the banking industry. And one of them was like, oh, I really want to be an MD. I want to get to that level. I want to do this and that. I said, great. But you ain't jumping from being a cashier to an MD. You're not. It's going to take years of work, education, determination, small steps, small promotions, but you can get there. And that's where Man United are. We're not the bottom of the ladder. We're about halfway up in terms of the elite end of the spectrum. But to get to the top, we've got to go through the pain. We've got to go through the barriers. We've got to keep improving. Doesn't mean my standards are dropped because it might take us 2 year to get there.
What ladder are you on? What ladder are you on? Halfway up is not the elite level of the spectrum, is it?
No, I'm talking about the elite end of it. I'm talking about the top six. We're about halfway up it because we're in front of a few of you and behind a few of you.
The elite end is the top two. The rest are just drift. Deadwood.
The top six is the elite end, and we know it's the elite end. Of course it is.
You're reaching for that top six spot, Tel. You're reaching.
I think it's more biased end, to be honest with the media. The teams that are outside the big six, we see it as a big con, a big fix around the world. Sorry.
Really?
That's how we see it. Yeah.
Tell us about. I'd love to know more about that.
Yeah, maybe for another day.
Okay, we'll chat about that another time. All right, mate. Listen, boys, I appreciate you all coming on. Tom, thank you very much. Lee, Sonny, let's reach for the stars. Take care. Goodbye.
See you later.
See you all soon.
See you later, lads.
Bye.